I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for joining me, Tarun, and congratulations. The box office numbers are looking good. I hope you're happy.
Very, very happy. I don't know if you remember, but we spoke a long, long time ago, 17 years ago during Dostana.
Of course, I do.
Yeah.
Again, a movie that did very well at the box office.
Yes.
So, tell me, one, of course, how does it feel? And two, the critics, of course, didn't like it. So, what do you have to say about that? But the audiences
Well,
seem to have
the
enjoyed it.
audiences have loved it, right? And that's the people who we're making the film for. I mean, I'm not.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say I'm somebody who's going to be really loved by critics at all points in time. I've had critical acclaim with Dostana. I've had commercial
Yeah,
success with Dostana, and one has had
right,
commercial success with Housefull 5. It
right.
didn't. I didn't get the critical acclaim. No problem. It's not giving me sleepless nights for sure.
Tarun, it's such a difficult industry to be in, and you've been very resilient. I mean, Dostana was 2008, then you had Drive, and now this. And not everything that you've done has worked out. Like Dostana 2, I think, had to be half sort of abandoned. So, what does it take to, keep your humor and keep your sort of artistry and keep your patience intact?
I mean, if I just want to be sounding fantastic about it, I would say that humor comes from pain, right? So I was
Of
tanking up on
course.
pain all these years, just so that I could be funny again. But truth be told, that it doesn't take too much to hold on to your humor. I think if you surround yourself with enough people who are just happy for you, whether you're going through a good time or a bad time, and it just keeps your humor alive, you manage to take everything with a pinch of salt and move on.
Right. But it's a tough world, I know. Tarun, the other thing I wanted to ask you is handling so many, I mean, God, I mean, every time I looked up at the screen, there was someone new. Uh, so, how does it work on a set like that? How do you manage to make sure that everybody gets their lines and everybody's sort of happy and nobody wants to undercut anyone else? I mean, not all um, situations are idyllic, so how do you make sure that you manage? Because I think people management is one of the great skills a director has to have, especially in a multi-starrer like this. How do you
So I,
handle that?
I think as you said it, it was absolutely correct, right? Before I started Dostana, Shah Rukh had told me that 99% of my job is about handling people, and 1% is wherever I think I'm going to be placing a camera and making a shot happen and tell a story and all of that, right? 99% of it was exactly that, handling people. And because I'd worked enough as an associate and assistant director on big films where there are already multi-star
Very
casts
big.
and big
Yeah.
actors, it wasn't a new world for me. It wasn't like I was being thrown into something that I hadn't ever dealt with before. Um, so I think that training ground was already there
And
in
you were
terms of
not intimidated also by the idea of handling such huge stars
not at
because they
all,
all
not
come
at
with
all.
huge egos.
I'm sure everyone comes with an ego, and I'm sure I come with an ego. I like to tell
Of
myself that
course.
I'm a very simple, humble human being, but my assistants very much disagree. And definitely. And I think that when it starts is honestly is from the writing itself, right? If you
Right.
don't have the space and the lines and the character drawn out well enough and you've gone ahead and taken a star, you're going to have certain backlash, right? That's where the problem
Right.
starts from. So we were very clear from the start that we will only approach a big star or a big name for this role if it has been fleshed out correctly and they have that material worth. Otherwise, we don't want
Right.
cameos. We don't want any of those elements to happen. So I think once
Right.
before we started the shoot, I had sat down 2 days prior with my entire cast at a table and I did out a narration. I wanted them all in the presence of each other, know exactly what the film is going to be from my point of view. Because when you read something, when you read a book or you read a script, it's always your own personal imagination going on. And it's very important to see it from the director's point of view. So I think that kind of set the tone for everyone, that they knew exactly what they were doing in this film. So post that, one couldn't be told that no, no, that scene is not there anymore, right? They all knew exactly what their scenes are. So post that, I never received any kind of thing from them to say, oh, but I don't feel my characters coming out too well or any such thing, because they had had a fleshed out version of it from that narration. And post that, it was just a joyride. For me, the tough part was not handling 19 stars on set. It was 19 characters on set. How do you maintain 19 character storylines, backstories, future stories? Uh, why they am taking a close up of them suddenly without, because I had not told anyone what the climax was. I did not tell
Hmm.
any of the actors of the 19 actors who the killer is. So
Hmm.
every time I was taking a shot, I would kind of tell them that, okay, at this point in time, I want you to look like you're looking at everyone because they think that you are the killer. Now I'll take another
Right.
take with everyone, you looking at everyone saying, one of them the killer. And now I want you to do
Hmm.
one look of everyone over there saying, do they know that I'm the killer? So all of them were
Right.
confused in that sense through the film about who's the killer.
Right. And how was it shot? Was it actually shot on a ship? I'm sorry, I don't know
Yes.
that.
Yes. We shot
So,
for, I
so
think, a lot of days. It just felt like forever that we were stuck in the middle of the sea. But yes, we did shoot on an actual ship and we had a grand time because it was all new to everyone, right? We had no idea what complications shooting on a cruise ship were going to bring. And definitely it brought a handful of them together.
such as what?
Like, for example, it's easy when you get up in the morning, you go from home and you turn around and tell
Yeah.
your chauffeur that please take me to set. And
Right.
next thing you know, you have Twin City or you've reached so and so place. Door opens and you're getting onto set. Here you get out of your room. There's no vehicle, and now you've been told that okay, you have to reach set, which is at the bow of the ship, and it's on the 17th floor. So first you take a moment to realize, am I going left or am I going right? Which is the front side of the ship? I don't know. All the doors look
Right.
the same. As much as
Right.
I try to follow an arrow, the number of times I cannot tell you, I have mistaken bow for aft. Bow means front, aft means back, and I'm hoping I'm saying it
Uh,
right at this point in time because my DOP has made enough fun of me on these two factors. And you end up at the absolutely wrong location, and then you're turning around trying to run across that ship, realizing you have finished 20,000 steps by the time lunch has happened.
so Mumbai traffic seems simpler then.
It's very easy. Is very easy, right? And then you're wondering, okay, we're going to do a quick costume change, but there's no such thing as a
Hmm.
quick costume change because the costume room is at the other end of the ship. By the time the actor walks till there and comes back,
Uh,
you've lost half an hour.
God.
So it had
It's
all, and
quite
then
a
of course the ship,
logistical nightmare.
and a ship is not something that stays static, right? So it's moving up and
Right.
down along with the waves, and it's rolling left to right as well. So you're on a
Right.
four-axis machine trying to control yourself and make sure that everything stays fantastic and stays amazing looking and all of those aspects. The good part is that when the ship is shaking the amount it does, your camera is also
Hmm.
shaking, and so is the actor. So everything just feels fine then.
So,
But yeah, a lot of fun.
it creates a sort of hothouse atmosphere because you're all there together, and there's no real time out for any of you.
I think the timeout is there because it's such a large cruise ship that, in all
Right.
honesty, we could have been on that cruise ship without having met each other. Right? I
Oh,
could have stuck to my floor and gone to the casino and then gone to the gym, gone to the spa, and never. And there are so many restaurants on that cruise that you don't possibly meet everyone on the cruise any which ways. So
right.
everyone had enough space to move around, and that was the good part. You weren't constantly bumping into each other, but at the same
Right.
time, post shoot by 5 o'clock when light is gone, everybody was out on the pool deck, everybody's out on the jogging track, everyone's just
Right.
over there having their own fun.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of them were bitching me out. Definitely my assistants were, oh, he did this today, and all of that was must have been happening. While I was pretty much confined to the smoking corner. I shouldn't be saying it, but yes, I'm a smoker, so I was confined to the smoking corner of the ship with my coffee, and I was just happy with the silence.
I think there should have been a movie made on the making of
Oh,
uh,
definitely. If you see the film all the way to the end, you'll realize how much fun we had when you watch the making of the film that comes at the end.
that little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Tarun, tell me, where was the ship stationed? I'm sorry to ask so many questions about the ship,
No,
but
no,
I'm
please.
fascinated by, how you actually managed to pull that shoot off. I don't think it's very easy.
It's not. It's not. It has a. It's a different beast. It's not like everything else is simple and this is not. Everything has its complications, and this one brought its own. We took the ship from this place called Newcastle upon Tyne in
Wow.
northern England, and we were just sailing through British territorial waters throughout. And it was a
Wow.
amazing time because, all honesty, there's no land anywhere close to you, but
Right.
you know you're not so far off from land either.
Right. So if there's some major emergency or whatever, you can
We
always
we
move
could
on.
always turn around and be there within like 8 hours.
How many days was the shoot?
Oh, the total shoot, I stopped counting after a while. I think we were between 80, I'm not so sure, 75 to
Oh,
80 days.
but obviously not at one go. I mean, there were
No,
enough breaks.
we shot actually 4 months straight. We just kept shooting.
Right.
We never stopped.
Oh, really? Oh. So, what is it like to have such huge stars on set? I know you said you worked before and you worked with really, really big
Yeah.
stars as well. But what is it like? I mean, are they as easygoing as they seem, or is there a lot of sort of
There's
competition? And
genuinely
is it healthy competition sometimes?
I don't think there's ever been competition because if you see my star cast at least, I think everyone is very secure actor. Sanju,
Right.
Sanju sir and Jackie sir are very secure. They've done this for uh, God knows how many years, and Nana sir is very secure.
Longer, longer than maybe you've been
Yeah,
alive.
yeah. So definitely, I mean, if you take any of them, they are just there to have fun, to make films. You don't last in this industry unless you really love making films. And I think anybody who's been a part of making of any film will realize the kind of commotion that goes into it. And you just get together and make it happen, right? You know, a lot of times that it's not 100%. Oh shit, this could have been better, and this could have been
Right,
that, but because you're doing it together, you got each other's back and it just sails through. You just let it happen and
right,
you make it happen and magic just happens. And these people, they've done enough of that. So there's no need for that insecurity. There's no need
right.
for egos to get into it. They know that they are here for this film. So I never got any of that. And I've
Right.
heard, it's not like I've not heard of other films not having their issues,
Of
right?
course.
But luckily for me, I have not faced any of that because with this kind of a cast, I finished my shoot. Sorry, excuse me. I finished this film in 4 months, right? And that's a miracle.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
a
Yeah. I
miracle.
mean,
Yeah. And 4 months, and
that,
I
yeah.
like what Sajid sir told me at the end of the film is we finished the film in 4 months. And what is surprising is everyone is still happy. No one's
And
thrown
I
anyone
guess
off the ship.
after the film, even happier looking at the
Even happy.
numbers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely so.
But Karan, how important is that box office to any filmmaker? I mean, it's until it happens, you're on tenterhooks, aren't you?
Not so much, not so much, because again, I'm not an overthinker. I don't try to solve too many mysteries in my head when it comes to box office and all that, because I don't think I understand box office, right? I don't know the difference between gross and net. I still don't, as much as I've behaved like when somebody's explained it to me, I've nodded my head and done all of that. I have no understanding of it. I don't know what a good opening day is. I don't know what a bad opening day is for this kind of a budget or for that kind of a film. I stop thinking about these things. So my only question is on any point in time is I ask Sajid, sir, you're happy? Is everything good? And he says yes, and I move on. I don't look beyond that. But yes, of course, a commercial box office number is very important to me. I can't speak on behalf of all filmmakers. I'm sure to some it doesn't matter. But to most of us, I think it does absolutely matter because somewhere that's a marker of telling you that all your hard work has been worth it.
Yeah. Right.
You might not be getting any of that money, but you still feel like, okay, I did this. My film
Right.
earned this much money. If it comes with a certain amount of critical acclaim, even better. But if it doesn't
Right.
come with that critical acclaim, as I said, nobody's losing sleep on that side. You definitely lose sleep if it doesn't make commercial money.
Do you ever get critics telling you, what the hell have you done? What have you made?
Of course, I think I got that a lot on Drive, and I heard all of them. I promise you, I watched each and every review of that film, hoping that somebody might pick on something to tell me what I did wrong. None of them did. They were today's critics who are meant to critique are more personal
Yeah.
rather than giving you an actual opinion on things. So it kind of just helped me avoid their opinions. It didn't matter to me anymore because with the first film, I got critical acclaim and I got commercial success. I got both. Right. In the second film, I got neither. But this time, they were just mean. They were harsh. They were not talking about a film anymore. They were talking about you as a human being. And that made me realize that A, it's a Friday that changes everything in this industry. Don't take it too seriously because next Friday, when you come with another film, the same people will come patting your back and say, I knew it, you had it in you, and all of that. And if you don't come with a good film, they will say, see, I told you so. Right?
Mhm.
These are those people. You don't have to care about that. What is your audience telling you? Your audience is telling you that you messed up. You didn't make the film that they wanted or they enjoyed watching. And that's it. You go back to a drawing board and you say, okay, let's start again. And the only thing I promise you that you can do is start writing again. That's it.
That's what you do.
That's it. I just sit down
Yeah.
with my laptop and I just keep writing. Good, bad, ugly. Most of the world will never get to see it, but you just start penning your thoughts down and your feelings down and your stories down. And that's it.
Right, Tarun. What did go wrong? It's so difficult for you to tell as well because it wasn't a theatrical release, so you can't really tell. Who knows?
Right.
It may have done very well at the box office. You can't even tell that. It
There's
was
no way
released
that
at a
today in
time.
hindsight you can say that, right?
How can you say that, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and the streaming numbers are never fully transparent, so you don't
Right.
really know how it may have done. So, how did you then assess that?
See, initially, when your film doesn't do well, you're in your mourning phase and you kind of berate yourself a lot and you do all of that, right? When
But
it doesn't meet up.
in this case, you didn't even have that. I mean, it's just that it was released on streaming, and in
See, it was
those
also one
days,
of the first big commercial
yeah,
films to go onto a streaming platform,
in
right?
those days, it was considered to be sort of, something that was almost
I
shameful
think
that
the
a big
word you're
movie.
looking for, Kaveri, is dumping ground.
Exactly. Thank you. But that's exactly what it was considered in those days, right?
Yes. Yes.
Not
Yes, it
not so much
definitely is.
anymore.
Not at all anymore. Now it's one of our biggest avenues for
Exactly.
filmmaking.
Yeah.
Initially, yes, because I think that was again, it wasn't the truth, right? It was more of the fact that, oh, see, his film didn't get to go onto a theater. Also, it's so bad that they had to send
Yeah.
it to VHS directly, like to a audio digital world directly, right? But that's okay. I can still claim with that film that I was one of the first big films to ever come to OTT directly. I have that to my checkbox, and you kind of find the positives and you move on. On that film, I think when I look back, I think one of the best things to happen to me on that was when I met Goldie Behel at a party, and he just asked me. He kept asking me one question, and he said, "Ask, I want to ask you, where did you go wrong?" And I focused on every aspect of that question except for the you part. And it took me a couple of months to start to realize that it was the you that he was really poking after. And that's when I sat back with myself and I said, okay, where did I go wrong? And I think my biggest mistake on that film was the script itself. Nobody else has a job in the film industry if the script writer doesn't exist, right? And I messed up on that script itself. It wasn't the sharpest script. It wasn't the wittiest script. It wasn't the most well fleshed out characters. Post that, I cannot expect anyone else to do to cover up for that flaw, that flaw of the script writing itself. So then I realized how
Yeah.
important it is for me to get that base and foundation right. I got lucky with the Dostana. I realized my mistake here, and now we're moving forward.
Right. But did you enjoy making that film? Because in hindsight, I mean, there's, of course, Sushant, one of his last films.
I've enjoyed making all my films. Good things, bad things, challenges, everything put aside, when we put together, I love making films. So, what an outcome of a film shouldn't tell you whether you enjoyed that film or not, right? Because you don't know the outcome when you're making it. There is no
Exactly.
guarantees to that. You enjoy the process, you have fun with it, you get it wrong, you get it right. That doesn't make it a good or a bad memory. It makes it a memory.
So much of introspection goes into, into the making and remaking of yourself, right? After every film, there's something that you learn, you correct, you go into a new film, learn, correct. I mean, it's a constant process of changing yourself as well.
Yeah.
And so much of the industry has changed since over the years that you've been part of it. Tremendous change. So, where do you think the industry is currently? There's, of course, reports of its death, I think, are highly exaggerated. But you being part of it for so long and with such major, major production houses, where do you think it is at?
I think right now we're all in that space of trying to figure out where to move next rather than where we are
Mm.
at, right? Everyone's trying to think
Right,
of where the future is going rather than figuring it out. What is our current struggle issue? And that happens
right,
from our past, right? It's not the current thing that's a problem. It's always 5 years or 7 years ago where the problem began and you ignored it.
right,
Uh,
right.
Many people have said that it is the price of the tickets, it's the price of the popcorn. Some people have said our budgets are too high, actors are charging too much, and there are a million things that everyone comes up with as what are the problems of our industry and where do we
Mm.
need the correction to happen. But I don't think it's a singular problem. It's a combination of multiple things. Um, if it was just an actor taking too much money, then we wouldn't have had big hits in this period of time at all.
Yeah,
If it was a
yeah,
matter of a popcorn price or a ticket price, we wouldn't have had big hits at all. Um, is it the availability of so much content on OTT? Or the fact that our films are going to come on OTT so fast, immediately in 2 months or 3 months, that audience is willing to wait for that period of time, right? Maybe that is what it is. I guess we'll see how Sitare Zameen Par plays out. We might learn something out of that. And if that's the new avenue that we will learn, um, I personally feel that it's a combination of all of it. I think our ticket prices could be cheaper, our popcorn could be cheaper. Um, I think stars could take lesser money. I think I should take more money. You know, just thought I'd throw that in somewhere. Yeah, I think we can all keep experimenting. And again, filmmaking as an industry is pretty much the same space how we are as filmmakers. You sit down, you
right.
introspect, you try something new. Um, Works, doesn't work, you try something new again. Like, for example, with Houseful, we wanted to try the two climax thing, right? Sajid sir had this idea from 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Decided we're going to do two climaxes in this film. And the purpose is not that you're going to make double the amount of money. You're not, right? As much as people think that, oh, because you put out two climaxes, you're going to make double the amount of money. It's not. You're going
it
to get a
doesn't work.
divided
Yeah,
audience between 5A and
yeah,
5B. It's only the same amount of
that's right.
audience. But
Yeah,
when you go back the second time, because you've enjoyed the film, and you go back the second time, you get to say that I will still get to see something different,
right,
right? The idea is for the second viewership where the second climax
right,
plays out. And to a huge amount of the audience, that has been a great appeal because they didn't feel like we were just spending money on another on the same film again.
right.
They got to see even 5 minutes that were different in it. Oh, great. Okay, there's something changed. For
Yeah,
those 5 minutes, got engaged again as a fresh audience. And that's one experiment that we can do. How do we take that forward? Can we make films in a way, in a technology that makes you and your friend watch two different films in the same theater?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't know where that future lies, but I know currently we need some form of correction to kind of make an audience feel how much we really desire them.
yeah. And how much, what the theatrical experience is, laughing together, crying together.
There's
That
nothing
is,
that beats that
there's
community
nothing like,
experience. Nothing
nothing
like the
like,
community. Comedy
right?
doesn't work unless you're in a group of people. If I crack a joke with
Exactly.
myself, I'll get a snigger for the best joke possible in the world, right? But with a group of friends, it becomes a memory. It becomes something that 10 years down the line, be like, I remember this is the rubbish you were talking on that night and all of that. So yes,
Yeah,
definitely
it
theatrical
could be,
experiences.
it could be the most inane joke, but you'll still remember it 10 years later. Tell me, Tarun, did you watch the film with the audience?
I saw half of it in one theater and the other half in another theater.
What was the experience today? Were they laughing where you thought they would, or
Uh,
were they laughing?
I was surprised actually by the uncontrollable laughter. I didn't think they would laugh as much as they did. There was not a moment for them to stop. At least in the first half, they just kept going on and on. And in the second half, I was actually surprised by how hooked in they were to the murder mystery.
To the murder?
I genuinely felt that they would not be that interested in the murder mystery. They would want to have only comedy, but I was quite surprised to see how much they were clued into it and were watching it. Like, I have not received any negative feedback on the murder mystery that this clue was out of place, or this was out of place, or this was not right. Right. And people are very happy to point out those mistakes.
Oh, yes.
Right.
What
But I
next
didn't
for you,
receive
Tarun?
anything.
What next for you? I hope not such a long gap.
No, no, no gap. I'm back in the office already working on two different ideas. And hopefully by the end of the
Excellent.
month, we'll have something to announce.
Wonderful. And will it be for Nadiadwala again, or are you going to
Yeah.
do this
Yes.
independent?
This is going
Okay.
to be for Sajid sir as well.
Okay. And just the last question, since you worked so closely with Karan Johar over so many movies, what is the one thing he's taught you which you will always remember? You know,
I think that would definitely be, and I've said this multiple times during these interviews, so you might not be getting a very fresh answer, but it's going to be that he taught me how to say please and thank you.
that's very important, isn't it?
Very important. I think he's made me a much better human being just by teaching me that.
That's so well said. I didn't read that anywhere. I'm so happy. Also, to say no when you have to, isn't that also an important thing, or that you knew it?
I think uh, life, I think that I've earned enough to say I've said no enough to people during that period.
Right. How do you mean that? Them asking you to do
No,
more
not
of the
just
same
that. In
thing?
any aspect of life, when like things didn't work out in my life after Dostana, and at that point in time, you start to realize your own value. You start to realize a lot of things about yourself that you turn around and say. For example, it's very easy for a film to have come to me at that point in time, and for me to have said yes because I needed the money, right? But
Yeah.
that part of you that turns around and says, no, you need to say no. You need to not do be desperate. You need to appreciate the fact that you have made a good film. You need to appreciate the fact that you want to make more good films, and this is not that film. So having to say no to a lot of producers, having no say no to friends for certain things, life teaches you various ways to say no, and that has happened for me, so I'm glad.
It's landed you in a good spot as well. Good, finally.
Thank you, thank you. It feels good to be here.
Thank you so much. And I hope you have much, much more success, box office and otherwise. And all the very best, sir.
Thank you so much, Kaveri. It was wonderful
It's
speaking to
always
you after
nice
all
to,
these years. And
I know.
hopefully, we are not waiting for that long. And I will have a conversation with you soon within the next 17 months, not 17 years.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.